is a saying that transformation is about unlearning. And those who decay and become old are those who are afraid of change. Now, we have a powerful solar eclipse on the 4th of December, which is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. Now, for those who follow Western astrology, you will see it to be in Sagittarius, but we are dealing with the true placement in the sky, and I'm going to put a separate video for you to see it for yourself in its divine placement. So let us go deeper into this placement and how it will affect you. Now, first, a solar eclipse is about the shadow. The moon is shadowing the sun. So this means that there is a hidden aspect where the sun is not able to express its true self. It's being hidden. And so what is it that is hidden? The truth. Now, in order to shine bright light, we have to go deep into the shadow. We have to go deep into the darkness. In order to be grounded, we need to go deep into the root chakra. This is the problem of the spiritual community these days. Many people want to activate the Kundalini without first being grounded. Many people want to take mushrooms without first being grounded. Grounding is the number one key before doing anything. So this new moon is in Scorpio, in a place called Jeshta, which governs the thinking mind. Jeshta deals with thoughts. She represents the elderly sister in the ancient system of the Vedic nakshatra true placement of the stars. Now we are dealing with fixed stars here. Now what we find is this eclipse is actually amplifying that, because the moon is debilitated, meaning that the moon and the sun will meet on that day, but the moon is going to be in its worst state. So this means that with the eclipse, it's going to doubly express this shadowy nature that needs to be worked on. Now, there are things that you may have to let go during this time, because Scorpio is the final round before you become new again. Another thing that I want to say before we go deeper, we have this 13th sign that everyone has been talking about for like, I don't know how many years. Some people say, oh, it's recent, but it's been going on for a long time. This 13th sign, all connected to NASA. Let me read what NASA has said previously. We see your comments about a zodiac story that reemerges every few years. No, we did not change the zodiac according to NASA. When the Babylonian invented the constellation 3,000 years ago, they chose to leave out a 13th sign. So we did the maths. So really what they're saying is that they are, they implemented that 13th sign, which is Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is not part of the plane, the zodiac plane. And I'm going to show this in the video separately. Now, from the 30th of November till the 18th of December is the period where Ophiuchus is being shined between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So then this is the confusion where people think, oh, I am this new zodiac sign. No, this is not in the belt of the zodiac. The zodiac follows a different belt. Okay. However, it does not mean that you won't be influenced by Ophiuchus, but Ophiuchus is not in the belt. So it's just like the fixed stars are doing their own thing, influencing you in different ways. Ophiuchus has this aspect where it gives you healing, but it's actually through the sign of Scorpio. But in order for that to happen, you first have to go through the middle path of change, okay? And so this middle path of change occurs in the sign of Scorpio naturally. You know, if you want to go more into detail about this, I would say to study the fixed zodiac stars or the fixed stars. Then you will gain more of an understanding how these lights affect you on a deeper level. But let me go deeper into this actual solar eclipse. So the shadow is about bringing more lights and strengthening who you are, because the light and the dark are one and the same. It's just about really understanding who you are from the deep core of your matrix to finally rise and become one within your divine self. Okay? So the new moon is going to be about letting go of certain faculties that you believe about yourself. Perhaps certain faculties that you believe about friends, relationships, career, and even if you're planning on partnering with someone, this is also going to challenge those faculties in your life. It's in Scorpio, so it's all about the kind of ties that you're going to make. Be careful about what you tie yourself into during this new moon cycle, especially this one, because we're dealing with the South Node, which is K2. The South Node is all about letting go. Figure out what it is that you want to let go of. Are you certain that you want to release that part of your life? Are you certain? The 4th of December is going to bring that fruit. Remember that the moon and the sun are conjunct on the new moon. So it's bringing on a new idea. And it's one that you're actually bringing in, but one that you're also not wanting to hold on to. So maybe this could have been a project that you've been planning for a while, and now finally you're beginning to release that. Now, interestingly, Mercury is also going to be with the moon, and it's also going to be with the sun, of course. So it's going to be an interesting new moon. So it's really going to aggravate the thought process, because Jeshta is connected to Mercury, and Mercury is all about thinking. And in the beginning, what I said is that transformation is about unlearning. And what you want to do is learn to unlearn. And intelligence is actually about being able to observe. Observation is true learning. Thinking is the perception to feel that you're learning, but you're not. You're actually comprehending or memorizing. However, intelligence picks up on everything through observation and learns on a deeper level. So the key here is about letting go and not being attached to things. The best way to see this is looking at the month of October, which is when the leaves begin to fall, right? This is the true signification of Libra. Scorpio now is when the leaves have actually completely fallen. This happens from an honest point of view 12 days after the new moon, which is on the 4th of December. So 12 days from the 4th is going to be at the end of those 12 days, the sun would have reached Sagittarius. So this is the end part of death. At that point, you begin to rise again. This is when the sun moves into Sagittarius. Now we're talking about the true placement of the sky here. So you will notice that. But what happens is, on this new moon, you'll be connecting with parts of yourself that you want to shed away. So begin to feel that during this new moon. Begin to see what it is that you don't want to hold on to, right? Begin to understand the psychological makeup to this placement. because it's going to challenge your truth. And this is also connected to a final chapter in a relationship partnership that you might have, or perhaps an actual relationship that you're involved. Okay, so what we find is that Mars, which governs Scorpio, is at the last degree of Libra, which is clearing a final debt in terms of relationship. It's fighting for the relationship one more time, with a friendship, with a partnership, with a love relationship, with any kind of relationship. It's finding that last fight with getting this contract done. So it's clearing it. And so this new moon is actually highlighting it, right? Now, Venus, which is in Sagittarius during this cycle and during this month, is going to also go retrograde. It's actually going to make a turnover in the month of December. This happens on the 20th of December. So this is going to challenge your spiritual truth. Do you love what you do? How honest are you about the Creator? Do you value the cosmic truth? You know, love the truth is what Venus is trying to say. So while Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius, it's all about what are you valuing in terms of spiritual truth. What is inspiring you? What is inspiring you right now in the cosmos? You know, so we have a deep inner complex about love, which is taking us to being in love, not just for the sake of it, but for the honest clarity and speaking and being honest about who you truly are. So this Venus retrograde is going to make you reevaluate what it is that you value about love in connection to the universal truth. What are you lying about? Are you lying to yourself, or are you lying to the universe? So true love is going to be universal. This is what it's saying with this Venus retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. So universal truth is going to be expanding. This is great because Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is gone into Aquarius. So it's about connecting with the world now in a universal manner and bringing a unified love and wanting to expand love in the air. So Aquarius is a fixed air, so it wants to express that love in a fixed manner to bring on light, clarity, and fire. So we have a beautiful element there in the sky with Venus. Venus is going to reevaluate what you want. So this is a good time to get into a kind of relationship or partnership that really brings this universal truth, like in terms of universal law, listening to the divine law and just really believing in something that unifies love, that can grow, that can expand in such a manner. So we have that going on with this new moon and everything going on there. So remember that the eclipse is going to be shadowing. The sun is going to get shadowed by the moon. And this is going to happen around the morning times or just before. But what it is that the key is not to be fearful of your divine hidden shadow self. One of the greatest practice actually is to do the dark room practice, where you actually sit down in a dark room and you sit down for 20 minutes a day for several amounts of weeks. And this gradually unravels the fear factor that the mind has accumulated within being in a complete darkness. It helps to shed away the shadow self, or should we say, to be more comfortable with your shadow expression. And that allows you to be your true self, in essence. So, doing that practice helps to cultivate your true nature, coming out from the light that everyone is caught up in, and now brings on the truth which connects with that divine self. Okay. Now, what we find is that Mars really deals with transformation because it's about burning the flames, burning those flames. And Mars has this element of just purification because fire is purifying, fire expands. So this is a real time to really finely fine tune yourself and purify parts of you which are not in alignment. Now, interestingly, NASA talked about Mars recently, almost like initiating this force of Martian energy in on the news. So that was one aspect that was spoken about. There's also the whole faculty that Mars being in Libra at the last degree is showing us there's a final battle that's taking place because Libra is about partnership, but sometimes partnerships can be like a battle, trying to resolve and refine the battle or the position that it's trying to strengthen. So it's almost like strengthening the partnerships or contracts, even. So this is a time where perhaps with all the vaccine passports and stuff, is almost like them trying to get a contract or trying to deal with humanity in a certain way and trying to gain some kind of contract to bring on a particular law because Libra deals with that partnership, making people accept it. But what's good about this is that because it's a Scorpio moon, this could be a way out. It could be a way out to come out of some of the problematic aspect of the pandemic. You know, what we have here is Scorpio really is about shedding away some of the hidden things there. So we're going to see some kind of change in the world with this final, I should say, eclipse, because what we got is that Jupiter is the planet which was causing parts of the pandemic because Jupiter has been in the sign of Capricorn for the last year. It has finally stepped out of Capricorn on the 21st. So within that, it's moved into the sign which also governs Saturn, which is Aquarius. And this is going to kind of shed away the restrictions but bring upon a new vision. Now, interestingly, with this connects very much with the new name that they've given for Facebook, the metaverse, because Aquarius is about going into the technological or the psychic realm. It's the visionary and it's the perception of going into something and believing in it. So this is the reason why they've implemented this whole thing, because it's bringing on that belief now of a universal concept, which is bringing upon a new type of mind control. Remember, mind control is based upon belief. When the mind believes something, it then is easy to manage and to literally control. So Jupiter going into Aquarius brings on that belief. Now, the belief is one that has been added once the mind adjusts to that frequency. So the real key with Jupiter is finding your true frequency in the sign of Aquarius. So finding your true frequency is what is needed right now. When Jupiter is in Aquarius, it's really about detecting your position in how you connect with the world. Aquarius is about the world. So it's your position with the world. What do you believe about the world now? Where do you see yourself in the world? And how will you be while you are moving in this world? So Jupiter is in Aquarius until the May the 13th, 2022. It's going to be a long journey. It's going to be cool, but it's going to question and bring upon new ideas. New inventions are going to be felt during this time. New angles of how you see the world is also going to be perceived. You know, there will also be new inspirational qualities that will come out from you during this time. Okay, so now the main key this month of December is going to be really about the truth that you unify within your heart and connect with someone with. What are the values that you are bringing together, and what are you planning to learn and grow in the nature of love? And what is the highest point that you can grow to? Because Jupiter wants to grow you and make you and draw to you a new way and in a new dimension to perceive the world. So it wants to kind of bring on that love, but then it wants to do it from a universal point of view. How are you connecting with that in that area? Okay, so this is what this new moon solar eclipse is going to bring. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I forgot to say, or if there's anything that I forgot. This is pretty much it. The new moon solar eclipse is going to be at 7:43 GMT UK, right? So it's going to be pretty intense in terms of how you perceive that true nature of Scorpio and what it is that you're willing to let go of in your life. And sometimes, depending on your nature to observe, sometimes you may not see what it is that you need to change. But if you focus and realize what happens during that day, you will begin to see what it is that you're wanting changing, or you're wanting removing, or you're wanting to kind of connect with. Because Scorpio is really going to highlight this during this eclipse. So I just wanted to leave you with a very short story of the shadow to remind you of the journey of the shadow. There once was a man who was frightened by his own shadow and scared of his own footprints. So he tried to escape them by running away. But every time he lifted his foot and brought it down, he made more footprints. And no matter how fast he ran, his shadow never left him. Thinking he must be running too slowly, he ran faster and faster until, exhausting himself, he collapsed and died. He had no idea that by sitting in the shade and resting quietly, he would have lost his shadow and ceased to make footprints. So in essence, this very short story is really just saying, sit with your shadow. Make this eclipse work for you and understand what it is that needs shifting within you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful rest of December, and I will catch you perhaps on the new moon. Peace.